Imagine trying to fly a massive heavy cargo plane through like a blinding cloud of toxic smoke.
Yeah, not exactly a standard flight path.
Right. And you're doing this in the pitch black of night, just a few hundred feet above a burning forest. The air is so turbulent it could literally tear a standard commercial jet apart.
Oh, absolutely.
And you are flying so slowly that your aircraft is hovering right on the edge of just, dropping out of the sky.
Which is terrifying to even think about.
It really is. But today, we're looking at a piece of engineering that does exactly that. Welcome to today's deep dive, everyone. We have our hands on a really fascinating piece of source material.
We do. It's incredibly detailed.
Yeah, it's a 2026 corporate profile and product page from the aerospace and defense giant Lockheed Martin. And specifically, we're examining a machine they call the LM-100J FireHerc.
The FireHerc. I mean, even the name sounds heavy duty.
Exactly. And the mission for this deep dive for you listening is to understand how decades of hardcore military aerospace engineering are being repurposed to fight nature's most unpredictable threat.
And it really shows us what this specific aircraft reveals about the future of disaster response.
It does. Okay, let's unpack this, because before we understand the machine, we really have to wrap our heads around the specific battlefield it operates on.
Right. The source material actually refers to wildfire as a, quote, formidable enemy.
A formidable enemy.
And it notes that it arrives without warning, expands rapidly, destroys everything, and leaves this lingering presence even after it's out.
Which is such a dramatic way to phrase it, but it's true. I feel like we often fall into the trap of thinking about a wildfire as just, a really big campfire.
Oh, yeah. That's a huge misconception.
Right, because I always hear that phrase on the news, the fire is creating its own weather.
Yeah.
It's like a living, breathing monster. But what does that actually mean for an aircraft trying to fly over it? Like, why is this so difficult? Can't any large plane just fly over and dump water?
Well, no. I mean, it really comes down to the physics of thermodynamics. The environment is radically different from commercial airspace.
Okay, how so?
So a massive fire is consuming vast amounts of oxygen, right? It's superheating the air and sending it shooting upward at, like, literal highway speeds.
Wait, highway speeds, just straight up?
Straight up, yeah. These are called thermal updrafts. And as that superheated air rises, cooler air rushes in from the sides to replace it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that creates these violent, swirling vortexes of wind. And on top of that, the fire is vaporizing all the moisture in the vegetation.
Which has to go somewhere.
Right. It rises and condenses into pyrocumulus clouds. They're essentially fire-induced thunderstorms. They can produce their own lightning and these erratic, incredibly dangerous microbursts.
Okay, so if you're listening to this and wondering why we can't just take a standard commercial cargo plane, fill it with water, and, fly it over the forest, I'm starting to see the problem.
Yeah, it's not a great idea.
Taking a plane built for 35,000 feet in smooth air into a firestorm seems like a death wish.
The structural stress alone would be catastrophic.
Yeah.
Commercial airframes are designed to be as light and fuel efficient as possible.
Right.
They are absolutely not rated to handle violent, multi-directional wind shear. That kind of turbulence can snap wings or stress the fuselage right past its breaking point.
Jeez.
And additionally, the extreme heat rising from a wildfire changes the density of the air itself, which directly affects lift. And it affects engine combustion too.
Because jet engines need clean air, right?
Exactly. They need clean, dense air to function, sucking in superheated, ash-filled, oxygen-deprived smoke that can cause immediate engine stalls or flameouts.
Which is terrifying.
It is. The source material specifically highlights this. It states that responders need an asset that is agile in, quote, compromised conditions.
Compromised conditions is a very polite corporate way of saying a literal flying inferno.
Yeah, it's a bit of an understatement.
So to survive an environment where the atmosphere itself is actively trying to rip you out of the sky, you can't just bolt a water tank to a commercial jet. You need a platform that is fundamentally built for abuse.
Right. You need a proven pedigree.
Which takes us straight into the solution outlined in our source, the Hercules heritage. So the text introduces the LM-100J FireHerc as the newest member of the C-130J Hercules family, the Super Hercules.
Yeah, and the C-130 airframe is arguably one of the most successful pieces of aerospace engineering in human history.
It's like this incredibly rugged, legendary off-road vehicle that suddenly got a custom fire engine upgrade.
That's a great way to look at it. The source notes it boasts over 4 decades of firefighting experience and millions of flight hours of proven performance.
Millions of flight hours.
Yeah, and if we connect this to the bigger picture, that metric is incredibly significant. In aviation, Established performance advantages mean everything.
Because it means it's not a beta test, right?
Precisely. It is the exact opposite of a beta test. In a chaotic emergency, frontline responders do not want experimental flight mechanics.
Right, they have enough to worry about.
Exactly. When a piece of machinery has millions of flight hours logged in literally every conceivable environment, Antarctic ice, desert combat zones, the engineers know exactly how it will behave.
They know all its quirks.
Right. They know the exact vibration tolerances of every single rivet. They know precisely when a part will need maintenance. There are no structural mysteries left.
Which means the flight crew doesn't have to worry about the plane falling apart around them. They can focus entirely on fighting the fire.
Exactly. It's bringing known capabilities combined with targeted upgrades.
But, having a rugged airframe that simply survives the smoke, that isn't enough. Surviving isn't fighting.
No, it's just step one.
Right. To actually kill the fire, the plane has to do something aerodynamically counterintuitive.
Okay.
And this is the part of the document that really, really caught my attention.
The low and slow profile.
Yes. The source states the FireHerc excels at a, quote, low-level, low-speed firefighting mission profile.
Yeah. And that phrase, low level, low speed, that is the mechanical crux of aerial firefighting. It is also, without a doubt, the most dangerous phase of flight.
This is where I have to pause and try to work out the physics here. Because everything I know about airplanes suggests they want to fly fast, and they want to fly high to stay safe.
Generally, yes. Altitude is safety.
Right. Speed creates lift. If you drop below stall speed, the physics stop cooperating and you drop like a rock. And if you lose an engine at 30,000 feet, you have minutes to glide.
Exactly. You have time to troubleshoot.
But flying a massive cargo plane incredibly close to the ground, incredibly slowly, surrounded by thick smoke, that sounds like an absolute worst-case scenario for a pilot.
It's extremely demanding.
Wait, so if flying low is such a death trap, why not just drop the water from 10,000 feet like a bomber? Is it because the fire is so hot the water just vaporizes?
What's fascinating here is that is exactly the problem. If you drop a payload of water or fire retardant from a high altitude, the sheer velocity of the fall breaks it apart.
Just from falling that fast.
Yeah. That, combined with the wind and the intense heat radiating from the fire below, it just disperses into a fine mist.
No, I see.
So long before it reaches the fuel source on the ground, it either evaporates completely in those thermal updrafts we talked about, or it drifts miles off target.
Right, so to effectively smother the flames, the drop has to be super concentrated. You have to get down right into the fire's throat.
You do. You have to descend into the smoke column, skim just above the treetops or the ridgeline, and fly slow enough to lay down a precise, heavy blanket of retardant.
Wow.
And keep in mind, you're doing this in an aircraft that is constantly changing weight.
Oh, because the water is pouring out.
Right. Thousands of gallons of fluid are rushing out the back, which dynamically alters the plane's center of gravity and its lift requirements second by second.
So they are deliberately flying a heavy, shifting aircraft right on the razor's edge of stalling out in a canyon filled with turbulent smoke where you can't even see the ground.
Yeah, that's the reality of the job.
How does a human pilot even process all that sensory data without crashing? I mean, that sounds impossible.
Well, a human pilot, relying purely on analog instruments and out-the-window visibility, often can't. And that is where the technological leap of the FireHerc really shines.
Okay, the advanced flight deck avionics.
Exactly. The source text highlights that this aircraft utilizes these advanced avionics to provide enhanced situational awareness and safety, because the human eye is easily defeated by thick daytime smoke. But advanced sensors are not.
Right. I want to break down how that actually works. We aren't just talking about like a better GPS screen on the dashboard, right?
No, far from it. We are talking about synthetic vision systems and heads-up displays.
Synthetic vision.
Yeah. Imagine looking through a windshield that is completely blacked out by smoke, but projected onto that glass is a digital, three-dimensional wireframe of the mountain range ahead of you.
Oh, wow. Like a video game.
Kind of, yeah. It's generated in real time by terrain mapping radar and infrared sensors. The plane systems process the altitude, the airspeed, the shifting weight of the retardant, the external wind shear.
And it feeds all that to the pilot.
It feeds the pilot exactly what they need to know to stay above the stall speed and on target. The plane is doing the heavy computational math, allowing the pilot to focus on the tactical execution.
That is wild. So the rugged airframe keeps the plane from breaking apart, but the avionics are what actually allow the crew to fly essentially blind in compromised conditions.
Precisely.
And I guess if a computer can synthesize a mountain through a wall of smoke at 2 in the afternoon, that same computer doesn't care if it's 2 in the morning.
They don't care at all.
Which leads us to the next massive capability outlined in the source. Here's where it gets really interesting.
Oh, the night operations.
Yes, the transition to night firefighting. The source text explicitly says that the FireHerc offers a path forward to deploying integrated technology for, quote, night firefighting.
Right.
And it claims this allows responders to combat fires on an unprecedented 2047 cycle, providing an unmatched advantage. Now, for anyone who hasn't spent time studying this, it might be surprising to learn that traditional aerial drops basically shut down when the sun sets.
They do. It is simply too dangerous to fly analog aircraft low through mountainous terrain in the pitch black. The visibility drops to absolute zero.
Right, the risk of a fatal collision is just too high, so historically they just stop. I always think of it like a boxing match.
Okay, how so?
Well, when the sun goes down, traditional firefighters essentially have to go back to their corner. They ring the bell, the planes land, and we just give the fire 12 solid hours to rest, recover, and spread. We hand the advantage right back to the fire.
That is a great analogy.
Yeah.
And that 12-hour pause is tactically devastating.
I can imagine.
Because during the night, the fire crests ridges, it consumes more fuel, it creates new flanks. By the time the sun comes up and planes can fly again, the responders are facing a completely different, much worse situation.
All the progress from the previous day can be totally erased.
Exactly, erased in a single night. But the FireHerc takes away the bell. It keeps punching.
I love that. It fundamentally alters the tactical timeline.
It does. Redefining the fight is the phrase the source uses. And it's not marketing hyperbole. By achieving a 247 cycle, you are exploiting the fire's most vulnerable period.
Wait, the fire is vulnerable at night?
Very much so. Nighttime brings a drop in ambient temperature and a rise in relative humidity.
Oh, right, the dew point and everything.
Yeah, the vegetation absorbs that moisture from the cooler air, making it way harder to burn. The fire naturally suppresses, it lays down.
So the fire is at its absolute weakest in the middle of the night, and historically we've never been able to hit it from the air during that exact window.
We've been forced into a defensive posture during the exact time the fire is retreating.
Wow.
But by utilizing those advanced avionics to guide night drops, the FireHerc allows command centers to strike relentlessly. You actively starve the wildfire of its momentum.
That is a huge game changer. You shift from just reacting to its daylight movements to actively dictating the pace of its extinction around the clock.
It's a massive, unmatched advantage against nature.
It really is. But, looking at all of this, the synthetic vision, the night operations, the real-time aerodynamics, it begs a pretty massive question.
What's that?
If you're listening to this and wondering why an aerospace defense contractor is building what is essentially a public safety water truck, you have to look at the broader corporate ecosystem.
Ah, yes. The 2026 Lockheed Martin site architecture.
Exactly. It's incredibly revealing. I was clicking around the menus in the source document, and the options are wild.
They really are.
Lockheed Martin isn't just making transport planes. The list of their transformative technologies includes divisions for skunkworks, AI Fight Club, directed energy.
Quantum technology.
Yes, quantum technology, cyber solutions, autonomous aircraft. You see that they are operating at this massive scale. The site even notes their 2026 stock price is sitting at 507.4.
It's a massive innovation engine, and the concept of a technological halo effect is critical to understand here.
Explain that a bit more.
So an aerospace giant pours billions into R&D to solve some of the most complex physics problems in human history. When they develop autonomous dogfighting algorithms for their AI Fight Club or deep space sensors, they create data systems capable of synthesizing millions of variables per millisecond.
Oh, I see. So once you invent a sensor that can, track a hypersonic missile, taking that same sensor and calibrating it to map a burning ridgeline suddenly doesn't seem so difficult.
Exactly. The breakthroughs cascade down into other platforms. The advanced avionics in the FireHerc weren't developed from scratch just for forestry departments.
They're direct adaptations of defense-grade tech.
Yes, targeting, survival, sensor technologies. The FireHerc benefits from the R&D budget of a global security apparatus. It's a compilation of defense-grade tech adapted for public safety.
It really reframes how you look at the machine. It's not just a tough plane with a big water tank.
Not at all. The challenge is posed by a dynamic adversary Whether that's a hostile military force or a massive pyrocumulus weather event, they require the same foundational solutions.
Rugged reliability, superior situational awareness.
And the ability to operate continuously in compromised conditions. It's applying the architecture of 21st century security directly to the physics of extreme weather.
We've covered a massive amount of ground here today. We traced the journey from the ruthless thermodynamics of a firestorm all the way to the corporate innovation engines that build the tools to fight it.
It's a lot to take in.
It is. We looked at why a commercial jet would disintegrate and how the Hercules heritage provides that structural predictability. We explored that crazy aerodynamic tightrope of flying low and slow to ensure the retardant actually smothers the fuel.
Which is still terrifying to think about.
Totally. And we saw how defense-grade avionics guide pilots blindly through the smoke, unlocking that 247-night ops cycle that just relentlessly hammers a fire when it's weakest.
Right.
So, what does this all mean for you listening? When you step back, this deep dive isn't just about an airplane. The next time you see footage of a massive wildfire on the news, and you see a heavy aircraft banking low into a canyon of smoke, you won't just see a plane dropping water.
You'll see the decades of engineering behind it.
Exactly. You'll know exactly the caliber of technological warfare being waged in the skies above it. You'll understand the physics, the pedigree, and the sheer computational might it takes to push back against nature.
Which actually leaves us with one final thread to pull, looking at the trajectory of all these converging technologies.
Oh, what's that?
Well, we discussed the prominent inclusion of Lockheed's autonomous aircraft and artificial intelligence divisions in that corporate profile.
Right, the AI Fight Club stuff.
Yeah. So think about it. If the FireHerc is already relying on advanced avionics to process the aerodynamics, map the terrain through the smoke, and navigate the physical impossibilities of night flying.
Oh, wow. I see where you're going with this.
How long will it be before human flight crews are removed from the cockpit of these tankers entirely, leaving AI to fly those dangerous low and slow missions, fighting the fires completely on its own?